Man, if the tracking news was any worse this week, I can't imagine how. There is no more personal information being tracked than what we're about to talk about. Peter's got the story. Today's Not So Critical update.
So yeah, while I am fairly tempted to make some really terrible jokes about this, it's utterly awful what's actually happening here, and it's it's a good example of the things that the reasons why I get so upset about tracking and privacy. Basically, apps that are installed on mobiles, which women use to track their periods, are selling that data to third parties. That's it in a nutshell. There's an article here which is about what period tracker apps know about you. What happens is that women want to track an important biological function. So they install an app to help them with it. They think it's free and they think it's completely innocent, and it's not. That information is being tracked and sold and used to target ads and for whatever other, anybody else wants to buy that data for. God knows what that would be.
Yeah. This is, God.
Right.
People are
I just came up with the best business idea. It's like how basically you could make ethical clones of every app out there. Like this one, for example. So you just name it the ethical period tracking app. And what it does is it just provides.
Okay.
No. You just do anonymized ads and people don't pay for them. They're free.
Yep.
And you don't siphon up all their data.
So this is it's it's a great idea, but it's not new. This kind of business model, and it's happening. So DuckDuckGo and Brave are the two biggest companies. DuckDuckGo made over $100 million in revenue last year, which is a real great milestone. They are still minuscule compared to Google. The interest in privacy is still not strong enough. People don't know about what's going on, and it sometimes is exhausting because I just feel like, that's no amount of effort is ever going to get people to care. But this week we've got Mike to admit that this data probably shouldn't exist in the first place. So,
kills me.
Small wins. It's I used to be much more hopeful about this, and I still am kind of, when I see articles on the BBC about tracking pixels and things like that, I'm like, oh my God, finally getting through to them. But then they disappear and people forget. And then I see someone clicking accept all for the cookies. And it's
because as long as there's a way to make money, and as long as there's a way for the government to track you, it's never going to go away.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things. So the other thing, right? One thing is, as you guys might know, anybody who's watching this, we have a Google Sheet where we record all the links that we talk about as potential candidates for things we can talk about. There's actually a really cool story about the EU, and the Digital Services Act, which is coming up, which is like GDPR round 2, and that kind of regulation is it's sort of the only hope, as far as I can see. I don't think we're actually ever going to convince people to care. But we might be able to stop companies doing it in the first place. And the EU are headed in that direction. So, perhaps we shouldn't be so despondent.
Yeah, so this story in particular, I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say it. Clear violation of personal privacy. Oh, for fuck's sake. What are you people doing to me? I hate being put in a position to defend this.
Welcome, brother.
If it was any other, like you'd say like, oh, is it a clear HIPAA violation? But it's not. People are volunteering to use this app. Super useful app. Lots of people use it. Should totally be able to use it. And their privacy is getting blatantly violated. We did this story at the beginning of Saturday about tracking data being purchased about presumably women visiting Planned Parenthood with where they came from and where they went to afterwards and how long they were there. We talked about the CDC buying tracking information to track lockdown compliance, to know how long people are out of their homes, what schools, churches, restaurants do they go to. This is all terrible. It's driven by profit. capitalism has utterly failed us. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. God, I'm like, I can't even take it.
I don't think you should blame capitalism for this.
Who then?
Just blame
John?
assholes. Assholes.
Well, oh, right.
Legislators.
You have to,
Yeah, I think
there's a certain amount of blame you have to attribute to yourself, though, Mike. Right? I mean, the
How?
fact that we're in a culture
no,
where
I'm blameless in this. I don't even understand.
I feel like pointing at capitalism is such a strange. It's almost borderline a scapegoat because
yeah,
it's not capitalism's fault, right? Capitalism didn't do
Poor-
anything
so
wrong.
who ruins all the good things?
poor old capitalism.
Yeah,
Like Peter
poor
said,
little old capitalism.
every text utopian is a dystopian future. How do you say that, Peter?
Yeah,
every nerd
techie's- yeah.
utopian future is one step away from a dystopian nightmare.
Yeah, it's amazing that we can track all this information. The things we can do with it are incredible. Feats of technology, unfathomable, and until recent advances in technology made it even possible. It's incredible that we can do it, but fucking people have to ruin everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's like-
And
it's
not just
almost like
capitalism. You're
it's-
right. It's
you know what?
everybody.
Here's a good analogy. It's like humanity discovered the dam, but they didn't realize how to basically, if we pretend that the water overflowing and rushing through a gigantic river, if that's the data that has recently been discovered, as we've just now kind of stumbled into this situation where there's too much data. Now we're finally figuring out how to build up dams. And that's going to take time. And Peter's right to a degree, to an extent, about the EU and what they're doing and how they're doing they're going in the right direction. And other countries or even states are following. California is one. It's just, it takes time to build the dam. But I think we will get there, just because it's going to get to be a point where every person is going to be guilty of something. And it's going to be provable that they're guilty. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to be asking, is this the right thing to do if we are all guilty of running a red light or jaywalking or whatever, right? Like it's again a couple steps away from a dystopia, and we're pretty much already there. So.
Yeah, automated traffic enforcement's an interesting example because, like you said, if everybody who drove on a road could just be mailed a ticket based on automated tracking, like everybody would get a ticket. That's crazy.
You went
perfect surveillance.
You went
is in itself a problem.
You went 66 on a 65 for 3 seconds.
Here's a conversation I had recently, which was I was driving. Well, I wasn't driving. Somebody else was driving, and I was like, you know what? They had one of those satellite things that tells you when there's cameras around, speed cameras. And I was like, why don't they make it so that cars just physically can't go faster than the speed limit if you have all this tech around? Like, so it knows that it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone. Why don't they just limit the speed the car goes? And the answer is because then nobody would make any money from speeding tickets, basically. But like, we have the technology. Why isn't that the case?
Plus personal freedom.
No, I believe emergencies.
Well, yeah, but like, I don't know, put a thing in the car so that you can override it if you really need to.
Then I'll override it all the time.
Yeah,
right. But then that's the point. At least you've gone to there's an extra step you've made.
or are you only saying like at the top end? If the maximum road speed anywhere is 75 miles an hour, set that as the limit.
No. I'm saying purely to avoid speeding tickets. Like sometimes a lot of people are driving 35 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone and they just don't realize or whatever.
Use
like,
technology to make the car not do that.
Well, you could dynamically make the car. You could set a dynamically driven governor on your car, probably. That's what those are called, Peter, or governors, and they exist today. Most car providers have them. Or like manufacturers have them installed that they can only go like a max of 160 kilometers per hour or 120 miles per hour, whatever which is again double the speed limit of like highways, so really fast. So I imagine they probably could, especially on electric cars. This would probably be an extremely easy thing for them to figure out with all the money.
Definitely on self-driving cars.
Yeah. Well, in self-driving cars, what the cool thing that's going to be solved now that we're totally pivoting off the topic here is the we're going to do away with traffic entirely. Because how is traffic caused? An overly congested road that is meant to support X amount of cars currently has Y, too many. And with, so it's just one asshole who slams on his brakes because he was on his phone. Traffic's been caused just from that one guy. Because as soon as he slams on his brakes, the guy behind him is going to slam on his brakes. And that's how you cause a cascading effect of a buildup without an accident or anything. With smart cars, as smart as in like smartphone, the self-driving cars will be able to talk to each other. They will always know what's going on. They will be able to adjust super fast. We will basically never have traffic again. That's something I'm really excited about.
Also, sorry, that is cool. It does sound amazing. I don't think, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully. But why have they never invented a car with a joystick? Like in Mario Kart? Like why does that not exist? Why do we still have like wheels?
A steering wheel? Probably because of the
not
reliability of a steering wheel.
Well, okay, if somebody makes it super reliable, the Super NES controllers are very durable.
If I get bumped, then the joystick all of a sudden is full left, and now I'm in the guardrail and off the cliff.
Okay, that's interesting. Not heard that
but
argument
with the steering
before.
wheel, that takes a lot of effort to just get me to completely turn. But one thing they do use Xbox controllers for, I believe, is drone flying for the U.S. military, if I remember correctly.
Oh, cool.
They use modified Xbox controllers, if I recall correctly.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Join the Discord, and let's talk about self-driving cars and Xbox controllers.
Period trackers.
Xbox controllers, and period trackers.
Oh yeah. And period trackers.
Oh yeah, that story.